let me explain to you how to become a truck dispatcher this year. So here are the generalities you have to really think about. So first of all, let me go back to trucks dispatcher 101. So what does a trucks dispatcher really do? Because trucks dispatcher is not really a freight broker. It's not also it's sort of different from a regular dispatcher. So a truck dispatcher's job is essentially to manage freight on behalf of a carrier. Okay, that includes what? That includes using load bars and personal connections to locate freight that needs to be shipped, speaking to brokers, conducting negotiations, and eventually dispatching drivers and setting up their routes. It's important because once you dispatch drivers, you have to really also think about their routes, their itineraries. Okay. In many cases, the position also includes some back-end work like reviewing truck drivers' logs and tracking their hours. So a truck dispatcher is actually often confused with a freight broker, but the two positions have different and distinct roles depending on your geography. But let me just go a little deeper here. So a broker is actually a legal entity, in other words, a business that serves as a middleman between the shipper or manufacturer who needs their freight moved and the carrier who can move that freight. Okay, so the freight broker is legally allowed to represent both the carrier and the shipper at the same time, but they should never actually have a personal investments in either side. So, and regulations are pretty strict when it comes to that sort of a conflict of interest, if any. Okay, so unlike a freight broker, a truck dispatcher is directly affiliated with a carrier and is consistently working on their behalf. Okay, so even if you are an independent freight dispatcher, you are still essentially an employee of whichever carrier you are currently working for. And whenever you conduct negotiations with a freight broker, you do so on behalf of the carrier. So this is a major distinction to really keep in mind. So unlike brokers, freight dispatchers are not legally allowed to represent shippers or manufacturers for that matter. So a freight brokerage business is actually required to have a freight broker authority through the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and a freight broker bond. And this can be a surety bond, among other requirements. So it's important to really make sure that you follow the rules when it comes to a freight broker authority and also a truck dispatcher in your location. So let me give you the method here. So how do you become actually a truck dispatcher actually this year? So one thing for sure, if you simply want to become a truck dispatcher for another company, then the process is the same as it would be for, let's say, finding any job. Okay, nothing really specific, nothing really complicated. So you can look on, you can actually look on job boards to see if there are any open truck dispatcher positions that interest you, or you can actually approach individual carriers and express your interest in becoming a freight dispatcher. So you can also ask if they will be willing to train you or if they can offer some kind of entry level position, because a truck dispatcher can be pretty specific. It can be also complex depending on the routes that you are guiding drivers through, depending on the scope, the size of the carrier. So you might need some, at least at the beginning, you might need some training. So requirements overall, truck dispatcher requirements will vary, but many employers will want at least a high school diploma. So, like a high school diploma or a GED. And also, if you have some customer service experience, this can really help as well. Okay. Now, it's important to really understand that if you want to become a truck dispatcher, you actually may work, let's say, as an employee of a single company, as opposed to being an independent truck dispatcher. It really depends on what you're looking for. Okay. So that's really important. One thing I want you to really also pay attention also is that in some cases, if you want to actually be an independent truck dispatcher, you want to register your business. So starting out as a truck dispatcher begins with choosing your name and officially registering your business. So when naming your business, the key is to be short and to the point, right? Nothing really complicated. So you want to actually use you can include terms like independent dispatch or dispatching services in your name so that it will be easier for people to find you. So having a clear name also means potential customers will know exactly what your business does when they come across it. And that's what you want, right? You do not want to confuse potential customers. You want to really make sure things are clear so that they can really choose you. And once you have a name for your business, you need to apply for your EIN, employer identification number with the IRS. And you also need to determine your business structure. So when I'm speaking about business structure, I'm speaking about LLC, S corporation, C corporation, or ALP, or whatever. Okay, you have to choose whatever works for you. Don't be a sole proprietorship. Okay, go. You want to incorporate for real. So if you want to become a truck dispatcher after actually registering your business, you want to establish an online presence because see the whole thing is that even if you are going to dispatch trucks in your area in your city or state, you still want to have an online presence because the truck dispatcher field is pretty competitive. So you always want to you do not want to put all your eggs in the same basket, so to speak. So basically, like avoiding to put your eggs in the same proverbial baskets means what? Means that you have an online presence so that folks out of states can actually contact you. Okay. So for instance, if you are a truck dispatcher in New York, you might want to really have an online presence so that folks in Philadelphia, folks in Connecticut, folks in Jersey, folks in Massachusetts, folks like folks in the neighboring states, folks in Connecticut, businesses in Connecticut, shippers in Connecticut can actually contact you. And so establishing an online presence is also great in terms of helping you from a reputation point of view. Nowadays, all carriers and customers for that matter want to actually do a little bit of research about a company before doing business with them. Okay, they want to really see what kind of reviews you have online. If you have a crappy set of reviews, or you have good reviews overall. So having a website can really help you. When you have a website, just make sure that you have a great homepage, a compelling sales pitch, right? Because you want to really make sure that you are articulating pretty clearly why carriers should choose your truck dispatcher your truck dispatcher business versus another. You also want to you want to have social proof. If you are new and you are an independent truck dispatcher, you may not have any carriers who can recommend you yet. That's okay. But even if all you can get are personal recommendations from people in the industry, whether they're friends or mentors and teachers, that's better than nothing and can help you actually seem more trustworthy to potential partners. Okay. So social proof is really critical. So if you want to become a truck dispatcher, first, you want to register your business. Number two, you want to establish your online presence. Again, when I speak about establishing online presence, I'm not just speaking about having a website. You can actually have also a social media account. So you can have a Facebook page, a page on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. I mean, it's all about being present where your carriers actually like to check you out. They like to see you at. Okay. So the third thing you want to do is you want to get a load board subscription. Having a load board subscription is really quite essential. I mean, usually if you are a truck driver, if you are a cargo van driver, if you are a delivery driver, you might say, you know what, I don't really need a load board subscription. But if you are a truck dispatcher, if you want to be as efficient and effective as possible, you got to have a load board subscription. Okay. So working as a truck dispatcher means finding quality, relevant loads for your carriers. To do that, you are going to need to actually have a subscription to a high quality load board where you will be able to access thousands of freight listings from across the country, right? Because otherwise, how would you know if a load is quality or not? I mean, again, when I speak about quality load, I'm speaking here about how much the load is paying, right? I mean, what's the revenue potential? Because the carrier will be interested in having the revenue per load or the revenue per mile. Okay, so while there are some free load boards available, you really need to invest in a paid subscription board if you want to find quality freight for your carriers. See, the thing is that there is no free lunch. Okay, there's no free lunch. If you want quality, you have to be ready to actually pay for it. you have to pay for that quality. Okay, and it's not and a load board is not really that expensive. I mean, you're looking at 40 grand. I mean, 40 grand, $40 all the way to $100 per month. But if you think of it as a facilitator for your truck dispatcher business, then you can really pay that $30 or $60. It shouldn't be a problem. So if you are serious about your independent dispatcher business, you can't do better than like a quality load board. Okay, you can have that. You can have truck stop. You can have other load boards. The next thing you want to do if you are trying to become a truck dispatcher, remember, first you want to establish your business. You want to register your business. Number two, you want to really have an online presence. Number three, getting a load board subscription. Number four, you want to start making connections. A little earlier, I was talking to you about the fact that you want to polish your reputation online, right? You want to really have some kind of social proof. That's important. But you also got to think about making connections not only online but also offline, because a truck dispatcher job is really it's the kind of job that requires some great interpersonal skills. So you got to know people. Let me just put it bluntly. You got to know people. If you don't know a lot of folks, you can't really succeed as a truck dispatcher. Okay. So while load boards are a great way to find loads for carriers, real success in the trucking industry is all about making connections. And you not only want to start finding carriers as soon as possible, you also want to make sure that you make connections with shippers and brokers. So you got to really canvass the whole industry and see where your interests lie. So a good place to actually start when it comes to making connection is actually go through an online directory. Okay, so the thing is that an online directory makes it very easy for you to find any partners you could want. Okay, and the cool thing is that a great directory will actually help you get the freshest, the latest info on potential partners. So this is kind of cool because you want to cultivate actually a good relationship with those partners. Okay, so kind of similar to a load board, a directory helps you actually make sure that you are finding the right carriers for the kind of routes you are interested in for your shippers. Because the whole thing is, if you have shippers who want a certain type of route, and all you give them is actually a crappy, excuse the word, quote unquote crappy routes, you're not going to actually succeed as a truck dispatcher. So this is why you want to make sure that the routes you are offering your shippers are in sync with what exactly they want. For instance, if one of your shipper doesn't want to do OTR and you send him or her OTR, this is not going to happen. So let me give you a few pro tips here. Okay, so I just give you the method to actually follow to become a truck dispatcher. Let me explain to you a few pro tips in terms of finding carriers and loads as a truck dispatcher. So once you have created your business, you need to start finding carriers and loads, right? That really makes sense. Otherwise, you can't survive as a truck dispatcher. So when it comes to actually finding carriers and small trucking companies to work with, there are a few approaches you can take depending on your geography. So your geography will really matter here. Okay, let me give you a few of those options. You have paid ads on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. You can go through a factoring company and also Facebook groups. Let me break it down for you. So when you speak about paid ads on platforms like Facebook, for instance, you are able to share your message with targeted audiences. That's a good thing because the granularity of a Facebook ad is really good, because from the back end though. Back end, you can see how to target, what kind of target audience you want to go after. Also, you can think about a factoring company. So a factoring company can send emails to its contact list promoting your services. So if a carrier is already working with a factoring company and let's say finds itself in need of a truck dispatcher, seeing that email could be all you need to get a new partner, because the email is coming from a trusted place, right? The email is already coming from a place of trust, a place of reliability, a place of credibility. So that helps a lot. You can also try Facebook groups. So Facebook groups for carriers in the transportation industry can be a great place to promote your business for free. And the cool thing is that there's nothing to pay. I mean, unlike a subscription load board, basically for Facebook, you can join and get your name out there by commenting or creating posts offering your independent truck dispatcher services. It's all about actually adding value. So if you are going to comment on somebody's post, make sure you are adding value and not trying to really spam the commentary with your truck dispatcher sort of offer. Okay, so be very careful, be very thoughtful. So once you have carriers, it's time to start finding loads. So if you have a subscription to the load board of your choice, you can start using it to find loads right away. You can either post the trucks you have and let the system find a match, or you can perform a search, just pulling all the information about the truck you're trying to fill, including the type, any special features it may have, and the lanes, origin, and destination you are looking for. So this is kind of important, especially when it comes to comprehensiveness. Now, how do you become a successful trucking dispatcher? Because you do have a you do have a quote unquote regular trucking dispatchers, and then you also have quote unquote those excellent ones. Okay, so running a successful truck dispatcher business is hard work. Don't get me wrong, but if you follow the steps that I really have given you a little earlier, you should be able to find partners who can help you thrive. Okay, and also help your business thrive. Finally, you want to really understand that there are two important elements you want to pay attention to if you want to succeed as a truck dispatcher. The first one is you want to really find a mentor. I mean, I don't care how good you think you are. I don't care how successful you think you already are. A mentor can always help you. A mentor can always help expand your success story. Okay. So a good mentor can be the key to a successful truck dispatcher business. So this is kind of cool because the mentor can actually help you expand your truck dispatching company. A mentor can also help you find new contacts, can help you find lanes, can also give you some advice when it comes to interpersonal skills, okay, soft skills, if you will. And that's the first thing. You want to find a mentor. Number two, you want to invest in your education. So picking the right education resource is critical to success. So what you want to do here is you want to pick a course that goes beyond the basic facts of truck dispatching to give you the knowledge. And I really mean this, okay? To really have the knowledge and insights, you need to effectively implement those facts into your business. Because otherwise, you have the knowledge in theory, but if you can't really apply it in practice, it's not really helping you, okay? So basically, good courses will cover much of the same info that I spoke to you into this conversation about. But the thing is that you want to really make sure that you are having access to the latest and freshest data. Okay, it's all about having access to the most up-to-date data so that you can actually implement it in your area and start actually making money right away. Because the bottom line is, if you are going to be a truck dispatcher, you want to really put all facts on your side when it comes to boosting your success odds. So in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about how to become a truck dispatcher. I gave you the generalities, the method, the pro tips, and the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.